So today I have a special treat for you. I have my good friend and a very smart entrepreneur and a real estate investor, John Sonmez, on the channel. John is the founder of simpleprogrammer.com and bulldogmindset.com, and John teaches men how to build the bulldog mindset in life. The bulldog mindset is all about becoming a tenacious man who will never be a victim in life and who will not stop at anything in order to achieve his goals. In this video, John will be talking about the top 10 books every man must read. You should definitely check out and subscribe to John's channel called The Bulldog Mindset, and I will drop the link for his channel in the description below. All right, so let me now bring in John to talk about the top 10 books every man must read.
Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from Bulldog Mindset. My good friend Manny asked me to put together a list of the 10 top books for having what I call the bulldog mindset, which is the opposite of the victim mindset. The bulldog mindset basically encompasses the idea of developing mental toughness, becoming stronger, becoming a person who is stoic and is able to adapt to their situations and really is able to succeed in life, because when they choose to do something, they commit to it 100% and they bite on like a bulldog and they don't let go. So if you want to develop that bulldog mindset, here are 10 books in no particular order that I highly recommend. So the first one of these books is Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. Now, this book is a critical book for developing the mindset that says that you can grow and you can change as a person. There's basically a fixed mindset and there's what is called a growth mindset. And most people have the fixed mindset. Most people think that their intelligence is a certain level, that they're a social person or not a social person, that they're an introvert or an extrovert, that all of these things are immutable or unchangeable about themselves. But a growth mindset person approaches things differently. They say, I can learn, I can change, I can grow, I can become what I want to become. And that's one of the key things of having that bulldog mindset, is realizing that whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you can get there. You just have to learn how to do it. So that's the first one there. Then the second one I have here is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Now this is a really good book because the basic message here, right? And this is a story of a man that went through a concentration camp in World War II, right? Who had been part of the Holocaust, had seen his family killed, had seen his friends killed, right? And had suffered through this. But the key message here was this one idea, which basically said this, that between the time that something happens in the external world, okay, you've got a space. You can have a pause, a space in between there, and you can decide how to interpret that thing. And then you can decide how to respond, right? Most people, what's happening is the external world happens, something happens outside, and then we react to it automatically, like we're automatons, like we don't have any kind of brain or any kind of free will, and so we feel like we're the victim, right? Because we're the victim of our circumstances. But what Viktor Frankl figured out was that even in the most dire of situations, in that concentration camp, when they were doing experiments on him, basically torturing him, he realized that the one thing they could never take away from him was this ability to interpret and to decide what he thought about things and how he would respond to them. And that is really key, because as a someone who's mentally tough, as a bulldog, you need to have that ability. You need to be able to see all the stuff that's going around and not automatically assume that it's bad or that you're a victim and lose your power. Instead, you need to have that power so that you can affect and you can change any situation. The next one is The Obstacles Away by Ryan Holiday. I've actually got a signed copy here. Really good book, a book I read several times because it really introduced me to Stoic philosophy. And this book is really good because it's written from a historical perspective, a lot of historical stories demonstrating a lot of the points here, really about becoming mentally tough, about looking at obstacles, all the things that happen in your life, and seeing how they actually make you stronger and they actually open up opportunities for you, because those obstacles require some effort for you to get over or to think about how to get around. When you go ahead and you go through those obstacles, you become stronger. You find opportunities that you wouldn't find before, and you develop that mental toughness that you need to succeed in life. The next one here is As a Man Thinketh, another one that I've got the book here. Really short book, really short read, but just great mindset. Just the ideas in this book. It's a really short, I'd say, synopsis of exactly what I would call the most positive, most beneficial mindset that you can have in life, where you're taking full responsibility for everything in your life, where you understand that what you think and the actions that you take are the things that determine the course of your life. It is you in control. It is not the circumstances. You're not a victim. And this is a really empowering book, and just some really powerful mindsets to have. Next up, I have Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I also have the physical copy of this. And this is a really good book. This is, one of the guys I highly admire, highly respect. David Goggins is a bulldog by far. He is just insane with the level of things that he's done, the way that he's pushed himself mentally. He calls it developing a mental callus. And there's a lot of lessons in this book, just as you listen to his story and you see what the human potential is. I mean, this is a guy that was basically picked on, was fat, lazy, and he became a Navy SEAL. And he went through the Navy SEAL training multiple times. Not only did that, he became one of the few people in the world to run the Badwater race, which is like a 135-mile race through the desert up into a mountain over like a 2-day period of time. He's done amazing things to set the world pull-up record, like just an insane amount of stuff that he's done just by sheer mental toughness and will, which it just shows you, how far you can come and what you can do, what you're capable of. Next one here is one of my favorite books, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Awesome book. This is one of those books that really made me realize that whatever I was doing, I needed to up it more, that I could do more of it. And while most people are calling for moderation, Grant is really preaching the message here that if you want to reach a goal, then do 10 times what's required, because probably the goal is going to take 2 or 3 times more than what you expect. And so if you do 10 times, you're going to get there, right? So this idea of putting in maximum effort, being obsessed. He has another good book called Be Obsessed or Be Average, which really hits home on that. But I think 10X rule is really key to having that mindset of like doing more than it takes, overshooting the goal, doing more than is necessary in order to ensure your success. And one of the key tenets of the book is the idea that if you want phenomenal results, you're going to have to do phenomenal things. You're going to have to take massive action, as he calls it. The next one here is Anti-Fragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. I love this author. This book in particular, I believe, embodies the Bulldog Mindset, because it teaches you a really important lesson, this idea of anti-fragility, which, if you have things that are fragile, and that means that as entropy, time, chaos, they break, right? Glass is fragile, right? All these things hurt it. Okay, you have things that are sort of neutral, right? That it doesn't hurt it or improve it. But then you have things that are anti-fragile, which is the opposite of fragile. Okay, which when you introduce chaos, time, disruption, right? All these things into it, it becomes stronger, right? And so we are actually anti-fragile as organisms, right? If you look at calluses on your hands from lifting weights, that you actually develop and become stronger. You develop muscles by tearing down muscle, right? So what you want to do as a person, as a bulldog, is to become the kind of person that is anti-fragile. As life throws things at you, and it's going to throw bad things at you, you want to, instead of being fragile, you want to be anti-fragile. You want to grow, you want to thrive, you want it to make you stronger, so we can use adversity as our greatest advantage in life. Next one here, we have The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. Really good book just for masculinity and understanding what it is to be a man, and understanding what's the difference between being a man and being a good man. They're not the same thing. and you don't have to be good in order to be a masculine. And understanding that in the world, I think, is really critical, especially for you guys that aspire to have this mental toughness and this bulldog type of mentality. Is you need to understand kind of your roots and your place. And I found this book to be just one of those books that really talks about the topic in a way that I hadn't seen before. That really shows you, from a very, I'd say, very objective view of what it is to be a man, and how that has evolved historically over time, which I think is critical in order to develop that mindset. Then I've got another one that's really cool, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. This is just a really, really good book about changing your mind, changing your mindset, changing who you are by recognizing that you are following certain patterns, that you have basically programmed your brain, and the environment has programmed your brain to react and to act in a certain way, and that you can change that, you can disrupt that, and you can stop that habit of being yourself. You can develop new habits and completely transform and change yourself from the inside out. It's a very, very powerful concept. And then the final one I have here, and then I've actually got one bonus for you, is The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Classic book, one of my favorite books of all time. It basically says, do the work. It says, go and sit down at your desk and do what needs to get done. Stop procrastinating. That, we all face this thing, invisible force called resistance, and it's always going to be there. It's always going to be fighting us, right? Anytime we try to move from a lower plane in life to a higher plane to do something worthwhile in life, we're going to face procrastination. We're going to face this resistance. And so we have to tackle this. And really the thing that was most powerful for me about this book in changing my mindset is I realized that everyone was struggling with this. And that the only way to actually beat this was to just do it, just to sit down and do the work. And that's a really, really powerful message. And it teaches you that it's always going to be hard. There's always going to be a battle, but you have to be the kind of person that always rises to the occasion, rather than looking for the break, looking for the rest, looking for when it's going to be easier someday, because that's never coming. So then I've got one more final bonus for you, which is Senecas Letters to Lucilius. Now, this isn't really a book per se. There's some translations of it. You can find it free online, but it is what I would consider the best set of dialogue on Stoic philosophy. Seneca writes to his friend Lucilius and tells him about life and teaches him all these lessons. And developing a Stoic mindset, understanding Stoic philosophy is critical to the Bulldog mindset. It is probably the core tenet of it, because that Stoic philosophy basically says that a lot of people summarize it by saying you're indifferent to pain or pleasure, but it's not quite that. What it is that pain or pleasure doesn't change your action. Like, the circumstances around you doesn't change the action that you take, and that's critical. It means you can't be derailed by the ups and downs of fate and circumstance. Instead, your motivation and your drive comes internally, and you protect yourself from all these external events by developing your inner strength. And that's really the key to Stoic philosophy. So anyway, I hope that this was useful to you to develop the Bulldog mindset. If you want to find out more about developing the Bulldog mindset, go and head over to my channel, where I've got a ton of videos on that, or you can go to bulldogmindset.com. And thanks, Manny, for having me, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.